What is this? The St. Canard Files. Ooh, a podcast about that do-gooder Darkwing duck? Blech. Talk about a waste of airspace. If I had my way, this podcast would be about me, Negaduck. So take that, and everyone would have to pay to listen to it. Yeah, or face the consequences.
No high security supermax prison can hold me for long, especially when I'm given workshop privileges. Silly warden. Welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Stan Lund, and with me once again is
Tiffany Silverbraun.
Welcome back, Tiff.
Hey.
So, what's new in the world of Tiff?
Not too much. Went to Oktoberfest yesterday, even though it's
How'd that go?
It was pretty good. Not I wanted there to be more food, but alas, there was not.
Were there at least some good bands and good beverages?
Yeah, it was one of the bands that played was one of our friends, Igor and the Red Elvises. That was pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else is new with you?
Not much. Getting ready for Inktober time or prompt season time. I don't necessarily do Inktober, but all the other October prompts. Pretty much every day is just working on those.
Yeah, it's your favorite season coming up, isn't it?
Yep.
Got any big Halloween plans?
We're probably gonna have a Halloween party at our house, and I don't know. I like to go back to LA usually, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that this year.
Yeah. I've started getting into the swing of Halloween. I just started reading one of my new Stephen King books.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's called Billy Summers. It's a decent read. I'm only 75 pages in so far, but it seems to be getting its talons into me, so to speak.
Nice.
Of course, I'll probably do a marathon of some spooky shows. Haven't decided which ones yet, though, for this time. Probably some Ghostbusters, maybe some Phantasm.
All the streaming services are getting ready with all their horror stuff now, too.
Yeah. We got some new Darkwing merch coming out, I believe, the day this episode drops. Yeah, September 18th. The Disney 100 collection is dropping their 90s merchandise, and it sounds like there's going to be 2 Darkwing items, one of which they haven't shown yet, but it seems to be a Disney Afternoon pin with Baloo and Darkwing on it, from what rumors seem to be saying. The other one they've revealed, though, and I'm not impressed. It is a Darkwing plush, but his cheeks are colored the same color as his beak, which I think his beak, from feedback, is not quite proportioned right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be very disappointing. These will be, I believe, on shopdisney.com as well as in the Disney parks. I think it's going to depend a lot on the price and whether or not they actually have fixed the cheek issue as to whether or not I will purchase it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, same. I mean, I have like 2 other Darkwing plushes. They're both not great. So, I mean, It just must be a difficult thing to translate into plush form. But yeah, I'll buy it if, it's not $100 or something crazy.
Yeah. One of those plushes you said is the Funko one. What's the other Darkwing plush you own, if you don't mind my asking?
I have the lemon beak one from back in the day. I got it, back then.
Yeah. I actually don't have the Funko one myself. I've got the lemon beak and what we refer to as pink Darkwing, which is essentially, I believe it was the Disney on Ice Darkwing plush, so it's got like a sparkly pink outfit.
Yeah.
I believe there's also a variant of one of those where the feathers are blue instead of white. I don't have that one yet either.
I'm not in general like a big plush collector.
Yeah. Well, not everyone can have a plushy army like our friend Michelle, can they?
Yeah. They're a little hard to keep up. I mean, I have an okay amount, I guess, of various things that I liked from my childhood. Like I've got some Nightmare Before Christmas, and I've got some old Rainbow Bright and old My Little Pony plush.
Yeah.
Gumby, Muppets, but it's not something I typically like go after. It's mostly stuff from when I was a kid.
Yeah, a lot of the plushes I have are Star Wars related or Ghostbusters or Dragon Ball Z, all stuff I like, of course.
Yeah.
There's very few franchises I'm into that I don't have some sort of a plush from. I think, like I've got Power Rangers and stuff.
Wait,
I
they
think
have
the only
Power Ranger plush?
Oh yeah, they've got Power Ranger plushes.
Crazy.
Unfortunately, I don't have many Green Ranger ones. I've got like a small Funko Green Ranger plush, but that's it for the ones I have. I think they made like 4 or 5 different ones. Speaking of franchises I'm interested in, I actually recently got to see one of my favorite movies on the big screen.
Yeah.
That was, yep, Stephen King's Christine.
Yay.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to see on the big screen. I honestly never thought I'd get the chance because even knowing how they like to bring old movies back for anniversaries, Vermont doesn't get that stuff very often. So I figured even if they did, it would probably be in some theater in New York or something that I couldn't get to. But lo and behold, my local theater actually got it. So I got to experience it on the big screen for the first time.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's what, the 40th anniversary?
Yep. Everything that was created in 1983 has their 40th anniversaries this year, whether it be Christine, Return of the Jedi, or myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be Nightmare Before Christmas 30-year anniversary and Hocus Pocus 30-year anniversary too.
And Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and Jurassic Park. 93 was a really good year. I always talk about that. It's very memorable to me as a kid going to the movies in 1993.
Yeah. In fact, I think, didn't Bonkers just celebrate its 30th anniversary as well?
Oh, maybe. That would make
I
sense.
think so.
Haven't really done anything for that for some reason.
Yeah. One of these days, I'm going to rewatch the series, see if it actually holds up as good as my childhood memory of it is, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, I got to do that too. I did really when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I think I liked the Lucky Paquel episodes the most.
Me too.
And of course, I really like that old police car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, any other Anything else going on in your world that you want to talk about, or should we get into our comic review?
I think we should get into it. I mean, I've been mostly just stuck in art world.
So today we are reviewing the first issue of the brand new Negaduck series. Now, I make no, I hide it not that my favorite character is Negaduck. So I'm a little more critical of some things in this, but overall, I think they did a decent job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I got the cover A and the action figure cover, and I think you said you got the foil cover,
Yeah, I got the foil.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
the
the
cover really nice for this one.
yeah, the story was written by Jeff Parker, and Ciro Cangialosi did the art and color. And I guess we should probably jump right on into this.
All right.
So, where do we start?
So we're in Median Park in St. Canard. And there's
A
a
beautiful spring day, if we do say.
yeah, we got a couple, two like dog characters. I think like on a date, and
Yeah,
the the male says, I hear your stomach rumbling. Just wait a second. And she's like, that's not my stomach. And you hear a really loud rumble, and all of a sudden this giant contraption shoots through the ground with a drill
yeah,
in it.
yeah. And a waboom, which is
Yeah.
the first of our dumb sound effects. And
Somehow
it's funny. I later in the comic, it's or well, next page it said what it is. I didn't pick up on it till now that it has like feet,
it has what?
feet like mole feet.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
But
really
yeah,
either.
it's a giant mole drilling machine, and we get out of a puff of purple smoke an entrance, but it's not a Darkwing entrance. It's not an earthquake. It's a threat far more dangerous. That's right, Saint Canard. And we get the other two screaming, "Yeah, it's Negaduck, the evil opposite of Darkwing Duck." No, Darkwing is the ridiculous opposite of me. But yes, Negaduck is back. No high security supermax prison can hold me for long, especially when I'm given workshop privileges. Silly warden.
So I guess, yeah, it's confirming that it's for sure not connected to the old comic books, the um Joe books.
Yeah, and we actually have a title.
Yeah.
Holy moly, I didn't even notice till now because I'm so
Oh,
used to them not having them.
I know. I
What
was
is our
pleasantly surprised.
title, Tiff?
Gold feather.
Yeah, which is probably a homage to Goldfinger from James Bond.
Yep. Wasn't there a
So
character called Gold Feather in something?
I think so, but my memory escapes me of who it is right now.
Yeah.
So Negaduck steals the picnic. Oh, actually, I guess the picnic basket had gotten caught on the drill, but he takes it off of it and gives us a little more exposition as to how he got out. Every week they check to make sure I wasn't building a drilling machine. They completely missed that I was building a robomole. Huh. And boy, oh boy, does this couple have some gross taste. Who picnics with peanut butter and relish sandwiches? This city is worse with every return. Yeah, peanut butter and relish?
Yeah.
Blech.
So when he thought her stomach was rumbling, he was going to surprise her with a peanut butter and relish sandwich. I think he kind of saved the date by ruining that one.
Oh, maybe, but he did reveal what kind of sandwiches they are, so I guess she knows. But Negaduck, says that things need to change around here and that he's going to check on his secret lair and catch up on the news in this universe. Then I'll craft a crime like this town has never seen. And we get one of the issues that I have with this comic here, that they keep relying on the swirly eyes from DuckTales 2017.
Yeah.
At least I think it's supposed to be swirly eyes because it happens multiple times, and as far as I know, Negaduck never had green eyes in the show.
Yep. But aside from that, the colors in this are beautiful.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Negaduck's about to go to his lair, but he's stopped in his tracks by something, isn't he?
Yeah, he sees the shadow of Darkwing Duck behind him.
Yeah. What? Darkwing? No fair. I haven't even had 5 minutes to. Ugh, bleh. A stupid statue.
Yeah.
And he uses it should be a statue of him. Well, I guess could be if you change the words on the face. I don't know, Negaduck. That looks to be in too good a mood to be a statue of you.
Yeah. I mean, he could paint angry eyebrows on it, I suppose.
Yeah. And what's the statue's base say?
Did you know since the installation of the statue, crime has dropped 6% simply by reminding criminals about Darkwing Duck?
Yeah. And obviously, this statue is a tie-in to the other Darkwing series, since this is almost certainly the statue that they unveiled.
Yeah.
But Negaduck's not impressed. Why do you get a statue? For saving the city? It's so easy to defend the city. You just sleep all day and then hit the streets at night to see what's wrong. But we get a new character here, don't we?
Yeah, there's a little like bear character, a little kid holding two stuffed animals.
Yep, one of which will make Will Santana very happy since it's a Oswald the Lucky Rabbit plush. And the other one is what, Tiff?
A turtle.
Yep. And he speaks in one of those like precocious voices, but with his expressions, he almost looks like he could be like a criminal orphan or something.
Yeah.
But he's like, hello, why you yelling at the statue, mister? I never yell at my stuffies.
Yeah.
Well, you see, lad, look, I don't have time to explain myself to disarmingly cute children. I have cities to conquer, worlds.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna come back for sure.
I think so too. I mean, he does reappear later in the same issue,
Yeah.
but we get a scene change and a time change later on in the evening at Negulair 26, which appears to be some sort of a hamburger hippo franchise. It's not a building shaped like a hippo like all the other ones we've seen, but it's still a hippo holding a burger.
Yeah.
But it
Kinda
does
like
bring to mind.
Bob's Big Boy like overalls on.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's precisely what I thought of too.
he's holding a giant burger and the lair is inside of the burger.
Well, it does have windows, so.
Yeah.
Ugh, this is easily one of the worst of my secret lairs, but it's the only one I could find the keys to.
Yeah.
He complains about the cleanliness, but he's made himself a promise, hasn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't want to have any henchmen anymore. He
Yeah.
thinks that's what always makes his plans not work. And you see him digging through a bunch of blueprints and old plans that he had, and he's trying to figure out what to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
What kind of plans does he find in there?
He finds one to knock out the town with sleepy pellets and a giant mind control machine. But he thinks he already did those.
Why did I save this? But he does finally find one that he's liking, and he states that the biggest crime spree of all time, will begin tomorrow.
Yeah.
And next time we see him, he's got a slight costume change, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a rocket pack on his back.
And a pair of goggles.
Yep.
That being said, though, it looks like his eyes are above the goggles in some shots, so I'm not sure how effective they are.
Yeah.
It is time. Look out, St. Canard. 3, 2, 1. It's time for crime with a nega whoosh. Ugh. Stupid sound effects back again.
Yep. He bursts out of the burger.
Yep. And he starts to analyze the wind currents and air pressure to calculate the perfect place to release his weather-based threat, which is
He wants to create a storm that's not rain but food, and says no one's
yep.
out of that before.
Yeah, except maybe the people that created Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
Though someone has thought of this ahead of Negaduck and is implementing it, aren't they?
Yeah, we see a giant zeppelin, and the base
Yeah.
looks very familiar. You want to say what it looks
Yeah,
like?
the gondola that the Zeppelin, for the Zeppelin, looks a lot like the Iron Vulture, which was the Sky Pirates' flying base in Tailspin. But who's flying this one?
We got Professor Moriarty.
Yep. St. Canard thought it had climate problems before, but wait until they're deluged with my healthy hail. First, a solid week of tofu and kombucha will test their resolve. Next, I'll flood the streets with kale and quinoa. Ha!
Quinoa.
Yeah. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not really a health food person, so
Yeah.
it's like give me a rain of pizza or burgers or hot dogs.
Or meatballs.
Yeah. As long as it's cloudy.
um yeah.
He's saying that, they say they want this stuff, but it never in doses like this. Once they flee the city, we underground dwellers will move in.
Brilliant, Professor M. I love those guys. I think
Yeah.
the art for Moriarty and his little mole henchmen are great.
Oh yeah. Well, the art in this whole comic is really great, aside
Yeah.
from Whirly dies on Negaduck.
Yeah.
But of course, this has definitely put a crimp in Negaduck's plans. What dumb luck! Now I'd look like a copy duck. Ironic, too. Building a robo mole took up all my planning time and allowed another mole to get there first. But of course, he has a backup plan.
Yep. He flies away, and he has a new plan to enlarge bugs to take over the city to monstrous proportions. He flies
Yeah.
to the park, and he sees someone else has already done that too.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite Darkwing villain, Lilliput.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lilliput Goonie. Onward, my invading insects. St. Canard can't stand against us. And if they put up a fight, I'll just enlarge 1,000 more. Whee!
Yeah.
Yeah, Negaduck is definitely not happy. I've got to think harder. These B-listers shouldn't be coming up with the same plans as me, and definitely not before me.
Yep. So he comes up with another.
So, yep.
And background, we see a familiar face.
Yep. Good old Hammerhead Hannigan.
Yep. His new plan is to raise the water levels in the city, which I already know where this is going.
Oh, yeah. I also love his dialogue of, I love it when a plan comes together. Definitely an A-team reference.
Yep. And I like his drawing of himself and his plans as him like super duper buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
wants
yeah, he's gonna pump the reservoirs into the freeways and make the city basically be flooded. And the city will be helpless, but not him, because he's going to use a deep sea rescue submarine suit at the ocean. That's at the Ocean Institute, and he'll go anywhere he wants unstopped. Then he'll ransom the city to drain the water. What?
Yeah, and you see a drawing of him in the suit, and he's carrying like a bank vault in his arms.
Yeah. But unfortunately, he hears a sound that distracts him, and what is that sound?
We get a beautiful splash page of the Fearsome Four with we got Liquidator surfing in on a big wave and Quackerjack on a giant duck, kind of like the one that the Penguin has in Batman Returns.
Yep.
We got
Megavolt's gonna have a special waterproof suit on, and
finally
Bushroot's surfing on a lily pad.
Yep.
And I will say, Liquidator's dialogue here isn't very liquidatory.
Yeah.
It's clearance day in St. Canard. Which part do we flood first, fiends? It's time to make mega millions with Megavolt's armor. It's just a test, Liquidator, but my subsuit is working perfectly. Just for practice, let's see how much cash from the bank we can carry on Bushroot's lily pads. A lot, Quackerjack, and I can gum up the path behind us with seaweed.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't really sound quite right, do they?
No. Not quite.
Nah, but that one really gets Negaduck in a bad mood. Okay, getting beat to the punch by the others was bad enough, but this really stings. Not that those four will get far without my superior guidance, but still. But yeah, he's a little depressed now, ain't he?
Yep. And then you see Hammerhead walking away from the park, getting in the car with Hoof and Mouth, and they're going to meet Taurus Bulba at the docks.
Yeah, of course, Negaduck actually notices this and decides, he's going to follow him.
Why was Hammerhead spying on Negaduck in the first place?
I think that's going to be paid off in a later issue. Like, honestly, I think this is possibly part of Bulba's plan. Like, maybe he thinks Negaduck's gonna be able to find what he's after easier. That's my thought, anyway. Like, I think it's a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Negaduck watches them drive away. Those are Taurus Bulba's men. So he's back in town, too. Sounds like he got something big going on. He always was the craftiest evil mind around, after me, of course. I wonder what his game is. But we get the return of our favorite new character, don't we?
Yep. The little kid is back.
Yeah.
Hey, careful. He sounds dangerous to me.
What? You? Don't you ever stay with your nanny, kid? I need to know what's going on in the underbelly of St. Canard anyway. It's just good mastermind form. Now they were going to the docks.
Good work.
Yep, as he uses his jetpack to fly away. Took him a while to get there too, because it was daytime and now it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Though I want to say, actually, no, I guess it was like sunset time.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, so I guess not that long. But at the docks, Negaduck, decides that the docks make a pretty good hideout, maybe even better than a giant hippo. And we see that Taurus Bulba has been busy, hasn't he?
Yeah. He has
His
old airship is there.
well, it's a brand new one.
Yeah.
Negaduck says as much. He's
Rebuilt.
built a new one.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm just in time to hear the good stuff. Well, the bad stuff. Good bad. Or bad good, I guess he says. But yeah, we've got the return of Taurus Bulba. Ah, wonderful. I see we have the whole gang together again. Good. Take your seats.
Yeah.
And Hoof and Mouth and Hammerhead are wondering what they're going to do. Yeah, so what's the plan? We going after the banks? Museums? Are you going to run for mayor?
Yeah. And then Taurus Bulba reveals his plan and says that he's done much reading and learned ancient secrets and mysteries about real power. He's funded an archaeological find to get a treasure, and he introduces Dr. Chidna.
Dr. Kidna.
Kidna.
Yeah, because that's like basically echidna, but without the eh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how it's spelled. So,
and
yeah, Dr. Kidna is well, I guess he's called Dr. Kidna, but he looks more like a duck-billed platypus, but maybe he is supposed to be an echidna.
yeah.
Also, his face is very familiar because it looks a lot like Dean Tightbill's face.
Yep, and he's got teeth.
Yeah. Ahem. Thank you, sir. Please pay attention to the screen. Even you, who are not known for reading, must have heard the legend of King Midas. Ooh, ooh! He was the guy who could turn anything he touched into gold.
Yeah. So he has discovered that it's not a myth and that it was actually real. And he goes to click his slides, and you see a hilarious picture of him on a water slide with a floaty around his waist.
Yeah. You think he was a mutant, Doc? Good guess, but no, I think. Oh, sorry. Must have had vacation pictures in there. But apparently he possessed an enchanted gauntlet made by wizards and blacksmiths from a strange metal. They think it came from a meteorite, and when the king wore the gauntlet, he merely had to touch an object to change it into solid gold. Which, honestly, it's one of the few things that a bad guy could get a hold of that would probably not make him a criminal. I mean, Taurus Bulba says as much. Imagine it, men. No more risking our lives or going to jail. We find this glove and I put it on. I change a pile of old bricks into gold bricks. It's not even illegal. Though, knowing Taurus Bulba, he'd probably steal the bricks, so it would still probably be somewhat illegal.
Well, I mean, would it not be illegal? You're kind of messing up the whole economy there.
I don't know. Like, it could be, but I don't think there's anything that says if you have a magic way to turn things into gold that you can't do it. Now, that being said, I'm sure if something was discovered, laws would be enacted very quick to make it illegal.
Yeah.
But
So,
apparently Midas, what?
I was just going to continue.
Continue.
Yeah, he says that the gauntlet was buried with Midas, and he's got a map, but he can't quite tell where it is or understand what's going on in the map.
Yeah, the map sketch likely isn't accurate enough to compare to satellite photos.
Yep. So,
And Taurus Bulba says, the names are ancient. We need someone who knows the old names and what they are called now. Someone who knows the history of magic. I have a feeling like there's two different ways this could go.
yeah.
And
I was thinking
so,
they were gonna.
what?
I was thinking once he said that they were gonna have a magic of dispel moment.
Yeah, see, that's what the way they're talking leads to believe. But considering the thing about the next issue, it might end up actually being both characters, which would be interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. They kind of do a weird next issue spoiler.
Yeah. So, of course, Negaduck has been overhearing all of this. I have to say, this is a very intriguing plan. If only I'd thought of it instead of Taurus Bulba. But doesn't it matter that I didn't come up with it? At least it wasn't dreamed up by some knucklehead like Quackerjack. That's Negaduck talking, Will, not me. I'm evil. Who cares? In fact, what could be eviler than stealing someone else's evil plan, right?
Yeah.
And he says that they can't get any farther with it anyway, that it's time for a real supervillain to take this plan to the next level. So what does Negaduck do now?
So he does a very Joker-esque plan of putting on a gas mask and gases the place essentially with pellets, gas pellets.
Yeah.
And, and you see everyone get put to sleep. And Negaduck says, "Not surprised you're a snorer, Bulba."
Yeah.
He goes and grabs the book with all the information from the doctor. And
That's
he
not
also
all he
decides,
decides to take.
yep, he also decides to add insult to injury and steal Taurus Bulba's ship.
Yeah. And apparently the controls are so rudimentary that a child could fly it.
Yeah, and we get another ending nice splash page of
Yeah.
him bursting through the lair.
Yeah.
Um,
With the ship, and you can clearly see Negaduck in the window at the controls. Lift off. Now I have to go find someone who can tell me exactly where I can get the Midas glove. And we see a silhouette of a character that I think is maybe supposed to be Morgana.
yeah, it looks pretty like
Like
they're
the silhouette looks like
obviously,
Morgana's.
yeah, it looks like they're trying to obviously make it Morgana, but who knows?
Yeah. And it has a little tagline of next, things go incredibly smoothly and according to plan. And what is the shadowy figure saying to that text bubble?
Oh no, they don't.
Yeah. And that is where this issue leaves us. But as stated, the blurb mentions Morgana in the next issue. So we know we're getting Morgana.
Yep.
So what do you think?
I liked it. I think it's an improvement from the Darkwing comic, really.
Yeah. Especially from Darkwing #1, which was almost unreadable.
Yeah, the art is just like I'm so impressed by the art in this one. It looks like
Yeah.
I know the artist is Italian, and it looks a lot like the Italian Disney comics. The what is it called? Topolino. And
Topolino or Topolino, something like that.
yeah, and the like the Donald Duck cartoons. It's like it's really nice, and the backgrounds are all like dense and full of details. The coloring is beautiful. It's great.
Do you have
Again, his
do
own.
you have any oh sorry.
Oh, what?
Sorry, I didn't realize you still had a thought there.
Oh no, I was saying it's like his own style. It's not just, it's not like those Darkwing comics just looked like they were super on model, and these are obviously his own style, but just look really nice.
Yeah. Any complaints with the comic?
Um, yeah, I think the story is good, and it's definitely like, oh cool, I want to see where this is going, but some of the dialogue is a little off. I think some of the negative duck lines were a little exposition-y, and I know that sometimes he does in the show like narrate to himself, but I wanted it to be more like thought bubbles. I mean, it's just like little tiny things like that, but not too bad.
Yeah. That's it for your gripes. So
Yeah, I couldn't really hear. There was some parts where I could hear Negaduck talking, but not all of it. And then with the Fearsome Four, also, I couldn't really like hear them talking, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like insulting or anything. But
all
yeah,
right. So what would you score this one?
I think I would rate it a 4.
All right. That's pretty high praise. I'm actually not going to give it quite as big a score as you for a few reasons. Now, for one thing, I think the art is gorgeous. It does have an interesting story where I do want to see where it goes from there. I think, there are some good lines, but as you said, there are points where he says stuff and it's just like I can't really hear Negaduck speaking those lines. I think it has a good atmosphere to it. The 2017 DuckTales swirly eyes thing kind of frustrates me. There's also something else missing from this Negaduck story. Because Negaduck is known for a certain weapon that he did not use at all in this issue. What weapon is that, Tiff?
His chainsaw.
Yeah, we didn't get any Negaduck chainsaw on this, so that is something going forward. Negaduck needs to be using that. Like, that's his signature weapon.
Yeah, for sure.
Another thing this series will need to do going forward is incorporate Negaduck vehicles, because we do know he had his own
Yep.
large garage full of vehicles, a lot of which that have his face on them, as one does. But
Um,
those gripes of mine though about not having the chainsaw, not having some of the dialogue quite fit, it's pretty small stuff. Like this is a major improvement, not only over the current Darkwing comic, but also if you were to compare this issue #1 to Darkwing #1, it is leaps and bounds of a difference. You know,
yep.
but I think I would give this a 3.5 canisters out of 5.
Nice. Um,
Now, I
I
what
have,
were you gonna say?
I have one more thing to say that I think is cool about it is like, whenever it's like a Darkwing story or something else, and then they put Negaduck in, it's like they make him extremely menacing. And then there's a couple times like in the show where you get wacky Negaduck, like kind of like in
Yeah,
Jailbird, where he's trying to like get into the prison and stuff. And I feel like they're doing that version of him more, which I like, because if it's like gonna be all about him, you kind of have to. He can't just be like this super evil, menacing guy the whole time. So I kind of
correct.
like that it seems like that's the direction is they're going with like wacky Negaduck.
One other thing that didn't really come up, but I'll mention is it feels to me like there wasn't a huge reliance on like tracing in this one, like there was for the first couple issues of Darkwing.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
looking through this, I can't see anything that makes me say, "Oh, that was from this specific episode or this." It all looks like it was brand new drawn.
Yeah, like super talented artist. Like I'm excited about him being the artist because it's really good. And like Like I said, the backgrounds are amazing. Like you could just stare at the backgrounds.
We do have a new villain to rate, of course, as well.
Yep.
That being Dr. Kidna. So, do you want to start with your thoughts on him?
It's pretty early on, but I think he's great. I like the design. I like that it's so silly, like that slide flub.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say because we don't really know him that well yet. So maybe I would give him a 3.
Yeah, I think I'd give him a 3 as well, because he does seem to have an air of evil and menace about him, but he's also got some goofiness about him, which it's usually pretty good when you've got a nice balance of the two for a villain.
Yep. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the issue as a whole, or?
I mean, in general, I think I'm just excited to see where it goes. It seems good so far.
Also, I think I'll make a note of that a lot of the covers for this actually weren't too bad.
Oh yeah.
Like honestly, the only covers I would say were like trash would be the cover B, which is Negaduck standing on the statue of Darkwing holding the mallet, and the retailer exclusive for Very Gray Comics,
exactly
has a very rough looking Negaduck. And I guess that Unknown Comics one as well is kind of rough. Definitely the standouts, though, is the Trish Forstner cover and the cover A Joshua Middleton cover.
Yeah, that cover A is great. It's like one of the only times where, usually they have like way nicer like B and C or whatever covers, but I'm like, I kind of just want the cover A.
Yeah, like I wish I had like a poster of this. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I think before we do outros, we'll do shout outs because I've actually got one shout out that's going to be a little longer. I actually wanted to give a shout out to Jim Cummings, even though I doubt he probably listens to our humble little podcast, but he's actually got his own podcast called Tuned In with Jim Cummings. And although I will admit I haven't listened to every episode, I did listen to the 2 parts of his Darkwing Duck one, and it is just wonderful to listen to Jim Cummings talk about Darkwing Duck. So I wanted to give him a shout out. Do you have any shout outs for this week, Tiff?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Ciro, can't pronounce his last name, Cangialosi.
Yeah, that's how I've been pronouncing it.
Yeah, it's just, I'm excited to see what he's going to do for the rest of the series. He's great.
Yeah, and I guess I'll also shout out Jeff Parker, the writer of this, because they are a duo in this, and so far I like their first swing. We'll see if they can keep up the momentum or if it's going to trip and fall on its face.
Yeah.
But we are the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. You can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube. And I hope everyone stays dangerous until the next time. I have to go find something to eat, preferably not a peanut butter and relish sandwich, though.
All right. Again,
bye, everybody.
Bye.